You know, I've been a fan of Intel for a while now. Yes, I know they have some shady practices in their past, but there's no denying they've had the best high-end products over the past decade. With that said, man, should they be scared. Stay tuned. Welcome back to GamerMeld. So it looks like the Ryzen 5 series processors have been officially detailed, and while there are a plethora of 4 to 6 core processors, the 1600X looks to be one of the best bang for your bucks and a very nice sweet spot price. Let's just say it looks like AMD won't just be dominating the high-end market. I will say that before the actual benchmarks of the 1700, 1700X, and 1800X were released, I wasn't big on wanting to compare Ryzen to Intel. Clock speed alone isn't the only factor in determining performance. With that said, now that we do have benchmarks and know that Ryzen 5 uses the same architecture as Ryzen 7, it's pretty safe to discuss performance on just clocks. But of course, real-world performance can vary. Either way, let's go over it. The 1600X features 6 simultaneous multi-threading cores, or SMT. And not to rabbit trail here, but one thing I'd like to note is that many articles are saying the 1600X has hyperthreading. It essentially does, but calling it this comes from a misunderstanding of the terminology, and it's sad to see this coming from the tech industry who's reporting it. Hyperthreading is actually Intel's name for their proprietary SMT technology. It's similar to saying NVidia has Crossfire. While it's close to AMD's Crossfire, their multi-GPU tech is called SLI. They're close, but are actually brand names for different implementations of tech. So yeah, just wanting everyone to understand the terminology there. Regardless, this essentially gives you 12 logical cores to work with. It also comes with 16 megabytes of L3 cache and a 3.6 GHz base clock with 4 GHz boost. But wait, it doesn't stop there. The 1600X also comes with extended frequency range, or XFR, which essentially gives you auto overclocking based on your cooling solution. So I'm sure you're asking, how much? Well, it comes at an incredible price at $259. That really is quite impressive, but where does this put things in the comparative scale to Intel's offering? According to AMD, the 1600X has a whopping 69% higher performance incentive edge than the i5-7600K. One thing to keep in mind is that the i5 does have a slightly higher clock speed, which is something I want to discuss for a second. While I'd like to go in depth in another video, it's good to talk about this now, seeing as this is a gaming channel. Many current games don't make too much use of anything beyond 4 cores. So it would seem the i5 could actually best the Ryzen 1600X with its higher clock speeds. But there are 2 reasons the 1600X could easily still become far superior whenever it comes to gaming. The first is DirectX 12, or Vulkan, whichever API you're rooting for in that market. Either way, these are supposed to be pushing multi-core performance higher by allowing developers to make use of those extra cores more easily. Whether that will actually happen remains to be seen, but it is most certainly something to think about, as having more cores could become far superior in the future DX12 or Vulkan games. Plus, of course, the current console generation is making use of 8 cores, and that could make things easier for developers to port things over to PC if the average gamer had more. The second is that the 1600X does look to be capable of some impressive overclocking. Of course, we're going to have to actually wait and see how well that performs in the real world and what kind of overclocks we can achieve, but the potential does seem to be there. The 7600K comes in a little cheaper at around $239. But to say the 1600X is competition is an understatement. Some are even claiming Ryzen 5's top dog can even beat out the i7 in both multi-threading and single-core processing. So I ask all of you, what do you think of the 1600X? Are you impressed with what it can do? Will you be picking one up? Let me know in the comments below. So that wraps up this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. I have some really awesome content coming soon. If you didn't, go ahead and hit that down button, but let me know why. Maybe I can improve on a future video. And as always, have a great day.